Hello, I'm Emilah Dawn DeToro. I'm an intuitive, a life and career coach. I'm an energy healer and a pet psychic. I'm here to talk about fitting in, or how to step away from people pleasing and fitting in. I've been a highly sensitive person, an HSP, an empath, and an introvert all of my life. And I often felt like I didn't fit into mainstream society. I loved to learn and read and preferred being in small groups of people and in nature when I was a child and a teenager even. I often felt compelled to do things from an inner place that I couldn't describe and I didn't really understand. I certainly learned as I grew older to be a little more extroverted in order to fit in, and I even learned to love it at times. I really, really needed people to like and approve of me in order to be okay. You know, people pleasing, it's the thing for women. And I'm a server. Like every personality assessment I've ever taken says I'm committed to service and I value relationships, and that is absolutely true. But the shadow side of that is I have a tendency to put others' needs first and not even notice I have needs in order to preserve relationships. And what is preserving relationships? It's fitting in. It's being who other people want me to be. I found a career early on in residential life and student services where I was always needed and could serve until I was exhausted. I fit in professionally because I had these tendencies that were not so healthy. And in my personal life, I didn't really fit either. I was kind of flipping back and forth from enmeshment and codependency to emotional distance and sexual promiscuity. And I couldn't really tolerate a healthy relationship because I didn't really know myself. So I could be a chameleon and fit in places, but it wasn't really me, and I didn't really know me. So, I had a marriage, I had a divorce, I had some really good jobs because that's where I fit in the best, even though they exhausted me. But in my mid-30s, I had a turning point. I started practicing Anusara yoga, and in this really open-hearted worldview, I started to resonate again with that highly sensitive empath that lived within me. That was a part of my personality. I had kind of stuffed her to the side for a long time, and yoga began to open those capacities back up and bring them to the forefront. And I met a lot of people who were like me and was able to show up authentically with them. And I was working in a place at that time where I could show up authentically. And around the same time, I started seeing a therapist and landed in 12-step programs for codependency and relationship addiction issues. And I learned that what I thought was a normal childhood was not, and it had, brought in these qualities of shame and depression and just not knowing myself. And it took many years in therapy and 12-step to really work through those issues. But I met more people with whom I could fit in and who were authentic. So it was an unfolding over time. And then things kind of got radical. I was in a pretty healthy place, and then I was in a rollover car accident that cracked open my whole being to psychic and energy healing capacities. So I could see and communicate with spirits and trees and animals, and I knew a lot about the people around me that they didn't know about themselves. And that was none of my business, frankly. So I could channel healing energy through my hands, and I was often guided to do that even with strangers. So I was living in these two worlds, one that was very real day to day, where I had kind of gotten finally a foothold and a healthy way of being in my professional life and personal life, and also this other place where I was connected to all that is, or source, or God. It was really a full-on spiritual awakening, and it was very disorienting, and I definitely did not fit in to mainstream society. Thanks to a mentor named Deborah, who helped me understand what was happening and contain it in a way that I could use it professionally and in my own personal life, but not know everything about things that were going on around me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is revealing my soul, or my authentic self, to the world has been a really slow process. It's been almost 2 decades since that awakening experience, 3 since I embarked on the healing journey. And more of me is revealed every day, every week, every year. And it's not really so much about changing myself as it is about revealing my true nature that was always underneath that familial and cultural socialization. The process requires a lot of surrender and acceptance. Surrender to right timing, to guidance that sometimes seems wacky but leads me in just the right place. And surrender to some deep psychological experiences. Acceptance of myself, of those around me, of where we all are at different times in our lives. To not expect from others what they can't give. And to understand that we're all on a personal development journey and a spiritual growth journey, and they're parallel and they overlap, and the more we can be loving, accepting, and caring, and boundaried at the same time, the better this whole life is. So, coming into our own gifts and standing in our own power, living our authentic life, it's not for the faint of heart. It takes time releasing these beliefs and behaviors that no longer fit, and then doing it again a few years later. Sometimes it means letting go of dear friends, but it is really a beautiful way to live. So I really encourage you to have the patience for this process. It's not going to happen overnight. I've never coached or done intuitive readings for anybody for whom feeling truly authentic and having that authenticity in all parts of their life came overnight. It's almost always been a journey of many years, and more is revealed year after year. So most importantly, I think, because we follow our inner guidance, sometimes we feel like we're going to hurt people around us. And what I've come to understand is that when we are praying and believing and touching into guidance that is for the highest good of the universe and of all concerned, when we take those actions with kindness and care, they're for the good of everybody, because we're all connected in this one field. And we can let go of that sense of guilt and fear of losing people, because there will be others that we can connect with and be authentic with. And there will be other jobs that will help support us financially and will support if you have children and families. So, becoming oneself, letting go, letting go of fitting in, and just being authentic. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So here's a few things that I've learned. Pace yourself. Have a coach, a mentor, or a teacher that can support you wherever you are, and that may mean changing them over time along the way. It may be sticking with somebody for a long time. That's your choice, your journey. Know what nourishes you and commit to doing it, even if you do it sporadically and imperfectly. Build a community of people who are walking this marathon too, so you have company over the long haul. Some of those will stay for the long haul, some of them will come and go. But if you keep building your community of support, there'll always be people that you can be authentic with. And then finally, have fun. gosh, you know, there's a lot of work to this authentic living, but there's also a lot of fun. Really find the joy and the pleasure and the friendship and the love in our day-to-day lives. Let joy emerge in the tiniest and the grandest ways. And trust me, it's worth it. Have a great day.